Hello everyone, let's talk about solar power, a way to Atmanirbhar Bharat. I think this statement is right. Solar power can be an immense boost to the program of Atmanirbhar Bharat. India can be self-reliant only and only if it is self-reliant in terms of energy. If we talk about the present scenario, then India is a huge importer of energy and majorly it imports coal and oil. That's why it is having a huge dependency on the oil producing and coal producing countries. So there is a sharp need, there is an immediate need of non-renewable renewable sources of energy, the non-conventional sources of energy like solar power. Solar power will be the major player. Uh, Also, there are some players. There are some players also. There are some uh, sources of energy also which comes in under this category of renewable sources of energy like wind power, like a hydropower. But all these, if we talk about India, then the most then the most advantageous would be solar power because we have an advantage of being a, a country in which almost 300 days in a year sun is there and we can produce solar power 300 days a year, so that is huge. We have a good geographical and climatic advantage. I think we should reap it by harvesting solar power, and we should utilize this advantage. If we talk about solar power, then the advantages of solar power are huge in number. Number one, dependency on other non-renewable sources of energy will decrease. That is a great deal. Today, India is dependent on non-renewable sources of energy heavily, and the major source of energy for India is coal, which is a really bad thing because we all know that coal produces greenhouse effect and all. Air pollution is there, and then oil, petroleum. India is almost completely dependent on the non-renewable sources of energy, so decreasing the dependency on these sources is really critical today because we are facing huge levels of air pollution uh, in the major cities, and it would be helpful if we slowly, not slowly, if we uh, if we try to divert our sources of energy from non-renewable to renewable like solar. Number two, the advantage can be employment, uh, because the solar power generation requires some labor also. The labor can be skilled, unskilled, or semi-skilled. All types of labors are required in solar power generation. The solar power plants are set up in different areas, so there is also, and their maintenance and the power transmission, all these will require some labor, and there will be generation of labor also. So that will be a great achievement as the country is very is a country is suffering from a disease called unemployment, so that will be cured if we take positive steps towards solar power. India has an aim of uh, producing 100 gigawatts of solar power till 2030. That is a huge aim. I think the the government is really optimistic about this solar power thing. That's why this aim is there, because if we talk about the current scenario, then we are only able to set up the plants where 2 gigawatts of energy is produced per year. So that is really less, but I think we should, if we are having a bigger aim, then we will at least land somewhere near to it. So we should have a bigger aim, and we have it, and taking positive steps toward it will really make a change. Number two, the advantage can be rural development. rural development will be there, because if we see even today, the rooftop solar panels are there in many rural houses. So this converts into extra savings to the rural houses, and therefore extra income, we can say extra income for them. And the installation and all these things in rural area of solar panels will create employment also. So that is also a great advantage of this solar power generation. The third advantage can be reduction of dependency on oil producing countries. If we talk about today's scenario, then as I mentioned, India is heavily dependent on oil and coal. So if we inculcate solar power in our entire energy needs, then the dependency over Middle East countries, Russia, USA, and oil producing countries overall will be reduced. And that will be an achievement, because India have to because India have to pay a lot of money importing oil products. Majority of India's imports are oil and oil, gas, and coal. So if so, that is another advantage of solar power. No, and another and The fourth advantage is the faster installation and the lower cost of maintenance. The solar power plants are installed very faster if we compare it with the others other other things like hydropower. Hydropower plants are damn hectic, and their installation requires a lot of environmental damage, a lot of money involved in it, and a lot of space is required, and a lot of time is required. So overall, the solar power plants are very versatile in nature. They can be installed in lesser time, in slightly lesser cost, in without damaging the nature. So that is a win-win situation for us. That is why solar power thing imposes another advantage on us. And next, uh, but there are some things that India should be considered about also, like the dependency on China in the solar sector. A majority of the solar manufacturing firms from which we import the photovoltaic material are Chinese. So that increases our dependency over China, and that is a really bad thing, because uh, there is an need of boycotting China to some extent. And if we and our dependency on China in the photovoltaic material and the things that are required in solar power establishment of solar power plant. So this should be reduced. This should be reduced by promoting the entrepreneurship in this field, by by manufacturing the solar products here. The solar power, the solar panels should be produced in India. That will be a great achievement, because if we want to be Atmanirbhar, then there is an urgent need of making India a a solar powered country, and making India a solar power producing the solar material producing country also. So that is a need also. But if we talk, then we are moving in positive direction. We all know that India was the founder of International Solar Alliance, which is situated in Gurgaon. And we are mm, uh, everyone is focusing on India in terms of, if we talk about the solar power generation, and we are moving in the positive direction also. So I think the future is bright, but the things are going slow also. We should take big steps, huge steps should be taken by the government in this direction, because the climate change is crippling the environment very fast, and to pace up with it, we should change evolve ourselves very fast also. So there is a requirement of establishing manufacturing units of solar products in India, and hence making India Atmanirbhar through solar. Thank you very much.